Hey guys, it's Zach from One to Pass here, and today I'll just be doing a deck profile of my Soulless OTT build post GBT01. So this deck might change a bit when the new stuff from Fighters Collection comes up, but maybe I'll do an update then. But anyways, so starting off with the starter, I have Little Witch Lulu. So her ability is, when your grade 3 rides on her, you can call her to rear guard, and when you call her to rear guard, you can choose 2 units from your soul and then drop them to drop zone. And then if you do, you can draw a card. So basically the combo of this card is with the Grade 3 I'm going to explain next, Scarlet Witch Coco, which basically lets you on your third turn to draw free cards, which is really good. And then she's basically like a long-term forerunner, so has its goods and downsides, but it's really a good card. Makes Soulless OTT like really powerful. Next up, I run 4 copies of Scarlet Witch Coco. So Coco's like the main, like the initial advantage engine of this deck per se. So it lets you have, it's really good. When you ride, you can counterblast 2. If you have 1 or less cards in the soul, you can draw a card, 2 cards. So normally that'd be really hard as your first ride, but with the starter combo, you can basically draw 3 cards for 2 counterblasts. So it makes up for its own cost, and then you draw another 2. And then pretty much you can also stride this turn if you started second. So you can just start getting like a crazy amount of advantage. And basically off her you can start building a board and then developing enough advantage and going through your deck and stacking a bit to just be able to kill them straight up. So she can also attack for 13. So if you have no cards in your soul and she attacks, she goes to 13. So if you combine that with an 8k, you can also make a 21 row. But you're going to be striding pretty much every turn. So it's only good if like your opponent's grade stuck. So yeah, Coco is really amazing. The other main OTT build is Tsukiyomi, but I am for one too cheap to get Tsukiyomi, and two, I don't. Tsukiyomi for me is really cloggy, like with the, because you have to run freeze 2s once, so I don't really like it because of that. But it's still, regardless, a really good build. So I won't deny that Tsukiyomi is a very good build. It's hard to compare though, I would have to say. Tsukiyomi, you have an alternate win condition. The next up, I run 4 copies of Susanoo. So Susanoo's your GB2. So if you have 4 more cards, you get +5/+1 crit during your turn if you have 2 or more face-up cards in your GC zone. So it's a fairly good pressure unit. It's basically like CEO Amaterasu, where if you have 4 more cards in your hand, she becomes a 21. This similarly goes to 16, so it makes pretty nice numbers. If you have 7k behind this, well, you shouldn't have a 7k, maybe 8k. You can hit crossfire numbers for 23 with a crit, so you can on-crit pressure your opponent, which is really good. Situationally, it's sometimes better, but her main ability is counterblast 1. When your Vanguard strides on her, you can counterblast 1, search top 2, put 1 to hand, and then 1 to bottom. So you can sort of stack a bit. But mainly, I don't really stack with this because like it takes way too long to hit that stack. And by the time you hit that stack, you're going to lose anyways. So mainly what I do is I use her to trigger filter, basically. So you run 4 copies, because she's also searchable with Strive Fodder, so it's nice. Then I run 3 copies of Silent Tom. I would probably run 4, but I'm really cheap, so I only run 3 copies. If you don't know what Silent Tom's skill does, then you really haven't been playing this game for a long time. But his skill is basically that your opponent can't guard with grade zeros. So it's really powerful because mainly the main usage of guard comes from grade 1s or higher. So with Tom, you can pretty much on a triple drive, you can stack triggers on this guy like crazy. And then normally what would be like a 1 card to guard is at least 2. It'll be Tom with a 16k booster. If your opponent's not a crossfire, will always be at least 2 cards to guard, which is really amazing. And sometimes like you can just completely sack them if their hand's full of triggers. Then like they're completely boned, because like Tom is gonna be like at least 21, 26 maybe with crit. So they either have to perfect guard this or drop like 4 cards from their hand. So Tom is like amazing like finisher. He's the only reason why OTT is actually good, because if they didn't have Tom, then it'd really suck for them. Then I run 2 copies of the Diviner Kuroikazuchi. So basically his skill is to counterblast 1 when it's boosted, draw a card. You have to be really careful with counterblast in this deck, but basically like sometimes you have like an odd Counterblast open. So it's really nice because you can just draw a card and he just makes up for his own cost to play on the field. Basically, the idea with getting all this hand advantage, you don't just want to sit on it. You kind of do want to build a field, but you have to be careful. Like, depends on what your opponent plays, right? If they play Kagero, Narukami, then you gotta be a bit careful in your field. But yeah, it's a good card. I just tagged 2 copies in. Next up, I run 2 10k vanillas. I probably should play 4, but I really like this guy, so I don't play 4. You can play 4 if you go, yeah, you can max on this. But basically the idea behind playing the 10k is that it gives you a defensive base, so if you get rushed, then you're in a good position. You won't have to take as much damage, and like, it's really funny because once this guy like tried to rush me, and then he suddenly realized I was on 10k, and he was very sad. So yeah, basically if they do want to rush you, then they have to like commit to board, which really sucks. I'm gonna move this stuff up, so I want to have a bit more space. Yeah. Alright, and then lastly for grade 2s, I run 4 12k attackers. So 12k's attackers are nice because you can hit cross-ride numbers with them, but honestly, going up against cross-ride is not that good. But the whole reason why she's so good, or no, it's a guy. Yeah, you know, that one line from Steins Gate. But anyways, you can hit in its own column, so it's really cheap to be able to just, you can also scale from this, like, if you put her on rearguard, put him on rearguard, like, on grade 2, and when you stride, it can hit their grade 3 vanguard, so it's pretty good. But yeah, it just makes some nice lines. Also, something you can abuse really easily is with Lulu, because nothing else makes a good column with Lulu in this deck unless you throw down a Great Freeze, but you want to keep Great Freeze in hand usually, unless they yellow rush you or stuff. But yeah, the 12Ks give you some nice numbers and really easy to build a field with. So it's actually really important to build a field with OTT because, see, the issue I initially had with OTT is like, you get such a big hand, right? But if you don't do anything with that hand, then it's really useless. That's my methodology really behind Oracle Think Tank. But next up, I run 4 copies of Battle Sister Chocolat. There's 2 reasons why I don't run the Flipping Perfect card. First one is that Laurel currently is at 4, plus the cross, but I don't really care about the cross. Like, honestly, I'm sorry. I don't have any respect for that deck. But yeah, because they can just attack your rear guards and gain a huge amount of advantage. You don't want them to do that, so you want to perfect guard your rear guards whenever you can. Second reason is because I'm cheap. I think you've noticed that already because I only have 3 toms. So yeah, I don't like investing huge amounts of money in this deck because, you know, it's not my thing really, but it does really well. So next up I run 4 copies of Ameno Murakumo. So basically this guy's skill is that when you place someone rear guard, you can reveal grade 3, search for Susano, add him to hand, and then ditch one. So it's pretty nice. If you want to build a field, then you can just plop him down, and then reveal Susano, and then discard something else, and then it basically breaks even on its stride cost. Yeah, and the second ability is that when you were to pay cost per stride, it gets +2 cost in hand. So you can instantly ditch him for stride, so it's really good. It basically almost guarantees you with this many targets that you can stride when you hit grade 3, if your opponent's obviously at the right grade. But next up, pretty boring, I run 6 AK Vanillas. AK Vanillas make lines in this deck, so it's really important win condition with Silent Tom, so that's why you need 6 copies. The other reason is that there's nothing else that's really good in the deck. Like 10k Vanillas, I don't think they're that good, so it's really consistent because like people will always try to retire these AK Vanillas along with Tom, but if you just have so many of them, they can't do much. Plus it also prevents grade 1 rushes, so it's a nice bonus. It's usually your ideal ride target, but you'll usually hit it just because you have so many copies. Next up I run 4, 8, 12 critical triggers. So crit triggers, you don't need draw triggers at all. You draw like a huge amount of cards with this deck, so you don't need draws at all. Plus you'll deck out anyways. And then I run 4 the Psychic Bursts just because sometimes you need to search for a card. So if you need to go fishing for a card, then yeah. Like I did that once. I had this fish for a Silent Tom and I actually got it, so it was pretty nice. Then I run 4 copies of Lozenge Magus. Lozenge Magus like makes this deck from just stacking to actual like trigger filtering. So pretty much you can trigger compress your deck by using Susano's skill, and I'll show you later with the strides that you can do a lot of other stuff with it. But basically Lozenge Magus, when it boosts, it gets +3, and then at the end of that turn, you shuffle this back in your deck. So you do minus for it, but you get to like recycle your heal triggers, which is amazing because this deck doesn't have any Legion potential. So another interesting thing is that you can make 11k line with Lulu. So that's what I do sometimes. I just put Lulu in the front, 6k in the back. They're usually not going to attack this. So you get an and also the kicker is that you don't actually have to attack Vanguard with this. As long as you boost, it doesn't matter. You can like kill an Interceptor with it. So it's really nice. Usually with Lulu, you'll, depending on what cards you have in your hand, you'll either move her to side column or center column. With the side column, you can make this play, right? 11. But yeah, being able to shuffle your deck turns it from stacking into trigger filtering, which I really love. It's a really good way to turn random chance into something that you can predict a lot more. You know, at least for me, like I don't feel like Vanguard is as much random chance as people attribute it to be. I know it's still a card game, so like it's a lot of RNG, you know, but it doesn't really matter to me. I don't really care. And then next up, for Stride deck, I run. Okay, let's start out with the base guy. I run 3 copies of Soaring Audacious Beats Kirin. So Kirin's an on-hit version of Susano's skill, so when it hits, you can check top 2, add 1 to hand, and put 1 at the bottom. So similar to stack. People will usually guard this because you gain so much advantage if this hits. Because not only are they putting themselves at more damage, but you get another card. You basically go +1 for striding, which is ridiculous. And there's always a chance to get triple critted at 2. It's happened before, I did it before. It's really funny. So, yeah. Then I run 2 copies of Takemikazuchi. Why only 2? Because, well, 1, I don't have 4 copies. And I almost never have to use it a second time anyways. So, I don't think you really need 4 copies in the deck, but you know. Anyways, ability is Counterblast 2, Persona Unflip 1. When you have 2 or more face-up cards in your G zone, you can search top 4, add 2 to hand, and put the other 2 at the bottom. So basically, it's instant +2, which is crazy. There's not a lot of cards that give you instant +2s in this game, so it's really good. It also lets you scry a lot more, so you have potential to hit a lot more better cards, and then just trigger filter even harder. But the reason why Counterblast 2, Counterblast 2, Counterblast 1, like you're already going to be through your Counterblast, because I don't run unflipping perfect cards, because I'm cheap, and I don't think they're really good right now. But that means I run 1 Harmonix and 2 Atmoses. I would run 1 Blizza later on. No, I just straight up run 2 Blizzas, because Blizza's like, basically what you do, you just go through all these strides, you play Blizza, and then like they're dead at that point because you have Toms. Like they have to perfect guard your Vanguard, right? If they don't have perfect guards, they're even more screwed because like they still have to guard Tom afterwards. But yeah, Atmos. The Harmonix is in here because with Coco, it makes a 26 instead of a 25. So sometimes it's helpful, but usually these are here just to G assist with. Like I'd remove like probably Harmonix and Kirin. So yeah, that's about it for the deck. As for how I did with it, I actually played a tournament like last week. By the time I upload this, it'll be around the same time I recorded it. So, because I haven't uploaded a lot of content recently, but yeah, how I did with it, like this deck has like amazing recovery potential. Because I had the G assist 5 out of 11 games, and I still won like 3 of them. So, yeah, if you don't know. Oh no, for people that aren't locally, they wouldn't know, but I went 4-0 with the deck, so I top with it. Actually got pretty good pulls too, so it's a nice bonus. Usually when I do good, I don't pull very well, so yeah. I went, it was like 2-1, 2-1, 2-0, 2-1. So I didn't go like 2-0 every round, but that was because I had the G assist like literally once every single round. So, and I won 3 out of 5 of those games I had a G assist. So, it's saying a lot. Yeah. Overall, it's definitely worth building. This build is not too expensive. So, it's actually probably one of the best decks I feel right now in the metagame. But, it's going to change when GBT02 comes out in like a week and a half. Like, Alka Force, Narukami, are gonna be really, really good. Same with Great Nature. Okay, Great Nature can like actually draw more cards than OTT, I think. But OTT still has like the kill pressure with Silent Tom, so yeah, Silent Tom is just an amazing card in general. But yeah, that's about it for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed, and like and subscribe below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.